I'd like to call this meeting of the Carpentersville Village Board to order. Who's the acting clerk tonight?
That's me, sir.
Okay. Would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Trustee Burroway?
Here.
Trustee Stevens?
Here.
Trustee Humfer?
Here.
Trustee Sabi?
Here.
Trustee Rayberg?
Here.
Trustee Schultz?
Here.
President Ritter?
Here. All right, we will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation from Pastor Ball. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Ball.
Thank you. Let's pray. Our gracious Father, we come before you tonight. We humbly say thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for the beautiful sunshine you've given us to live in this day. And we take a moment now to just ask for your guidance and direction concerning this village board meeting. Father, we pray for your will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. Father, Lord, give us wisdom, give us understanding, give us knowledge, give us insight, direction in how to lead this village. And Father, we just pray for the success in all areas, in all departments. And Lord, cover us by your Spirit. And all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Pastor Ball, that's November 10th instead of the 7th. Thank you.
Okay, we have no proclamations, congratulatory resolutions, or awards. We have two different appointments. The first is an appointment of Kay Teeter to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I don't think I need to introduce Kay to anybody here on the board, and hopefully not to the audience as a past trustee and current. She was the founding chairman of the Business Development Committee and still a member. But I need a motion to
motion
approve.
to pass this resolution.
I'll second.
Motion Paul, second Jeff. Any discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Humfer?
Yes.
Trustee Sabi?
Yeah.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
And you don't have to call on me, but I would have voted for her anyway. Okay, welcome back on to the, well, you're already on the team, but welcome back to a new position. The next would be the appointment of Mr. Terry Wessel to the Fire and Police Commission. Terry has got law enforcement experience at about 3 different places and has been a Carpentersville resident for almost his whole life, East Side resident, and interested in serving on the Fire and Police Commission. I need a motion.
A motion to pass this resolution.
Motion Paul, second Kevin.
Yep.
Any discussion? If not,
Thank you for your service.
call the roll.
Trustee Burroway?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Humfer?
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Sabi?
Yes.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
And Terry's sitting right over here where you can get a profile in the camera so they know what you look like. Thank you very much, Terry. I'm sure you're going to be a good and active member, and this is just in time because we have interviews for 30 possible policemen starting on November 1st. So Terry walked into 3 nights of meetings. Congratulations, and thank you for your willingness to serve. I see no names on the comment sheet, so we'll assume that we can move forward. You didn't have anybody sign up to speak?
No, sir.
Okay. Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of those items unless the trustee so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Anyone have any items to be removed?
I'll motion to pass the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion Paul, second Ginger. Since we would be no discussion, since did I?
No, I just want to point out something for the record,
Okay.
Mr. President. Just for the, I'm going to make sure I get the board's concurrence on item D, which is the resolution approving the master property transfer and lease agreement. We learned just this afternoon it was a slight switch with respect to 2 of the properties on Washington Street. The resolution agreement characterized one as being owned by one of the entities and the other by a different entity. Those were mistakenly flipped. So, with your permission, we would correct those in the resolution and in the agreement merely to reflect what we now know to be the actual facts on the ground. There's no substantive change, no difference in the parties, no difference in the terms of the documents.
Motion, are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'll amend my
Seconder
motion.
is also willing?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Motion and second as amended, or, yes, as corrected. Call the roll, please.
Trustee Burroway,
Yes.
Trustee Stevens,
Yes.
Trustee Humphord,
Yes.
Trustee Sabi,
Yes.
Trustee Rayberg,
Yes.
and Trustee Schultz.
Yes.
Okay. Takes care of that. Reports of officers, managers, commissions, and staff. Mark, any report this
We
evening?
have the fire chief in a dual capacity tonight. JP, if you would.
Fire Chief / Assistant City Deputy Clerk. Thank you, and I just wanted to bring you up to speed on the 100-day plan. We've met our 100-day plan, and I can tell you that the mission's been accomplished. We've attained all 10 items on that 100-day plan. However, this is just the springboard of what happens next. And what happens next is we enter into probably about a year-long strategic planning process that will include internal and external stakeholders as we move along, and we will keep you appraised of that as we move forward. But this plan, with the assistance of the manager and the participation of the unions, has really come together and given us a really good launch into a good, successful program. And I want to thank you for your support.
And I'd just like to add, this was started before JP was even hired as the known entity for the fire chief. The unions worked with the battalion chief, Todd Mittendorf, and I, as we were doing the recruitment for the fire chief position, coming up with an action plan for success for the new chief stepping in. And then when JP got here, it's moved faster than I ever could have expected, but it's chiefly because of your leadership, but the willingness of the union, both the full-time IFF and the part-timers, and Gene Washington has been just a breath of fresh air working with the part-time union, very aggressively trying to bring us candidates to work here at the village. And they're taking ownership of bettering the department from the lowest rank. I mean, it's just very refreshing to see, and that was just to set up to get to the strategic analysis and coming up with the more thoughtful and deep ideas for the fire department moving forward. So it's really just been an amazing turn of events to see how positive things can be every day at the firehouse.
Good news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, JP.
Okay, that it for your report?
I have one more that I'm going to spring on Pastor Ball and the acting representative of the police chief. There was a rumor that came to Joe Pilarski and his involvement at Foxview that the bus service at Pace was going to discontinue some of the routes at Foxview, and it was unfounded. And Chief Kilborn, working with came and said, okay, how do I get the right contact for the Pace again? And Patrick Burke, who's working in conjunction with economic development, and especially recently with some changes we'd like to make at Walmart, to have the bus go in on Lake Marion and come out the new Ball Avenue that's almost completed and should be by Friday.
Nice.
We'll change and have a bus stop in front of Walmart for the convenience of the public that comes to shop there. And then I said, well, let's just call them up. We just met to get them to agree to move a bus stop location. And they returned the call to Patrick Burke and got it to Joe and I think to Pastor Ball this week to meet with those residents. But whenever those type of things are in the community, just reach out to the fire, police, or my office folks, and we'll get the truth of and not believe these rumors that get started, because the Pace had some issues with some things, but they were not about to cancel any bus service at Foxview. But it was a very trying matter for a few folks down there at Foxview that thought they were going to be kind of isolated further by having the bus not run. So
I think it would have had a big impact. I mean, we only had a few people at the meeting that we were at, but I have had the sense that it would have had a big impact in the community. So I'm kind of glad that they brought it up when they did. So
the Pace was very cooperative to deny that rumor and also to add, work with us to add a route right in front of the store. And I'd like to thank, over at Walmart, Phil has been nothing but cooperative with the police department and public safety in the village. He graciously said wherever the PACE wants to do it. I've got 2 different locations I'll offer them that are right by the front doors to make it convenient for folks that are handicapped as well. So
Yeah.
that should take place in the month of November.
That'll be great for Christmas shopping and that also. Good timing, really good timing. So,
That would conclude the staff report tonight.
Okay, commission reports, Pat?
okay. Well, you know what? I'm just going to talk about the Halloween decorating contest. Ginger, you want to talk about it?
Nope, go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Yesterday was the cutoff date. At our meeting that we had last week, I think we had 30-some entries already, I think. And I think that's what Bob told us. Yeah. And so tomorrow night, there'll be some people that'll be going out. Kind of did things a little differently. We had some people that wanted to have their house shown or judged, rather, if you will, during the day, and then some that wanted it at night. So that was on the form. And so we'll have a couple of people, a couple of us that'll run out during the day. Tomorrow night they'll do most of the judging, let everybody know so they can turn on their lights. I think Ginger and I we're busy, so her and I may go out Saturday night and take a little ride around, and I think it should be rather nice. So then we'll be meeting on Monday briefly, the committee, go over the winners, and then it'll be announced, and the gift certificates that we buy for businesses in the village will be awarded on November 1st. And then after that, we'll be talking about holiday decorating deadlines and everything else. So it's flying by. But anyway, so I'm excited about it. So I hope had some great entries last year. And Halloween is just a really big event anymore. So for this, so it's great. I'm glad that we were able to sponsor it again. So, and that concludes my report for right now. So,
Kevin?
It is officially budget season for us, so we're getting into the thick of some meetings here. Our next meeting is Thursday, October 20th. That's at 7 p.m. at Public Works, just a couple days away. And then Saturday, October 29th, that's our big all-day meeting where we really go through department by department and discuss what we want to do. That begins at 8 a.m. It's at Public Works. Of course, the public is encouraged to come. Oftentimes, we do get some people to the Saturday meeting, or at least the bits and pieces of it, because of there's so much information that is contained in that meeting, and it's really relevant to every aspect of the village. I had a meeting yesterday with Finance Director Desai and Manager Rooney, and we just sort of talked through some budget scenarios and some things that we'll present to the Audit and Finance Committee as far as what we can, what numbers we can plug in where and what impact it will have elsewhere in the budget. So some productive discussion and some pretty big decisions that we'll have to make here as a village board and as a Audit and Finance Committee regarding the direction that we want to go in. It'll be interesting.
what time is that meeting then?
That's at 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Okay, I thought we were talking 6:30 or. I know
We
some
were,
people.
but-
Yeah.
I think it was met with
Some people came to their senses.
Yeah. I think we need Halloween candy. Lots of it, lots of sugar.
We have coffee.
Yeah, on the Saturday one, yeah.
discussion.
Thursday is 6. Yeah.
Oh, you said 7, Kevin.
You did say 7. Oh, I thought it was 7 o'clock. Apologies.
No, it's 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? Oh, PM.
Yeah.
On
Thursday.
the Thursday evening.
Yeah.
Thursday night.
Take it easy.
Audit.
I'm sorry, I was still at Saturday. It's like, what?
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, anything else? Okay, Paul?
BDC meeting next Tuesday, 5 o'clock. We have not put together the agenda yet. We'll do that by the end of this week.
Don?
Jelke's Creek Watershed Coalition, I reported on the last time, and our next meeting won't be till after the first of the year. So, and nothing on on Quadcom, although it should be, another meeting should be coming up here shortly, so I'll let you know.
Okay.
That's it.
No Jets report or
No.
Quadcom? Okay.
I just said Quadcom.
Well, that would conclude our reports. No old business, no new business. Trustee reports. We'll start with Jeff.
I just want to say a quick thank you to both the police and the firefighters. They did a fire prevention thing at the mall on Saturday, and Joe Pilarski was out there with the police department, and the firemen were there, and they were handing out things for the kids and talking about just different safety and awareness. There were people there from, I believe, from Centegra and some of the other local agencies talking about child safety and car seats and things like that, but it was just a nice little event. It was great. People brought the kids out, and thank you to both of them for being out there. So, that's it.
Kevin?
I'd just like to confirm the trick-or-treat hours this year. What is it? Is it 4 to 7, or is it 3 to
Three to 7?
7?
Oh,
I believe it's 3.
Kevin, can you check on the website quickly?
If you
I
can,
thought
why not?
it was 3 to 7.
Well,
Three, 'cause I
he's
remember
checking.
thinking-
We'll count on him.
3 off of work.
3 to 7.
3 to 7.
All right, so official village trick-or-treating hours is 3 to 7. Any child caught trick-or-treating at 2:59
Right.
or at 7:01.
Out of there.
How do we want to finish that?
Lights out.
It just shows you can find anything on our village website. Just like that, he had the answer for us. Thank you, Kevin. And Kevin. Anything else? No. Pat?
And I just wanted to say thank you also to Officer Pilarski and Pastor Ball. As I said, there was a meeting. It was lightly attended. I know we always hope for a little more folks, but it was a good meeting. It's a very interesting dynamic and to listen to. And, you know, the trust that you can sense for Pastor Ball and for Joe when you're at those meetings, they're great leaders in that community down there. So, and Tina also, you know, so it was really wonderful. So, you know, we hope to get more people and have them come. And it was good news about the Pace bus, and you know, so I think they were kind of relieved. So, and that would conclude my report. Thank you.
Don?
Okay. Yeah. I have a couple of things tonight. First off, I'd like to talk about, we had a meeting, okay, of the Carpentersville Substance Abuse Prevention Community Coalition. I know that's a long title. That's a working title for now, and we'll see how that goes. That was last Thursday, and the participants, there were 13 people there from the Ren Center. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's down in Elgin. Jason Too Soon, which is a grassroots drug prevention, drug overdose awareness group. Carpentersville Village Board, which included myself, police and fire. JP was there, and so was Kilborn, Chief Kilborn. And we started off pretty, you know, everybody getting together, finding out about each other. Oh, the Boys and Girls Clubs were there too, which I thought was very good, very good. They seemed to have a lot of input and willing to help. As you know, we've reached a crisis point with our drug overdoses all around us, some here, some there, statewide, nationwide. So it's at a critical point, and all of us there felt that we need to get out and do something about it. We need to get the word out. So that's what we were working on. And we did a couple of exercises that showed us where we need to build more people. I invite any resident, Carpentersville, or not even Carpentersville, Dundee, whatever, to come. The next meeting will be November 10th at 7 p.m. at the Public Works facility, the training room over there. We have room for, I don't know how many over there, but we would like to get more residents involved. We'd like to get schools involved. Obviously, we have the Boys and Girls Club. They have really done a great job, and they've started on this. and we will extend their program. This has all been brought to you by a grant from the Ren Center, because funding is always critical. You know, every village needs funding for these programs. So they were nice to provide a grant for us to get, for printed materials and posters and all that stuff, and people to bring this nasty problem to the forefront where we can talk about it, and things. Obviously, the Ren Center would be involved in helping us establish this coalition. So, if you can, show up, come. I invite all the trustees. Pastor Ball will be there, I hope, the next time. And we'll all be there looking for ideas, how we can get the message out. And it started out very well. I was very happy with the way it was presented. And now we're moving on to bigger and better things. So it was the initial meeting. Thank you on that. Now, the second thing I wanted to talk about is voting. We got an election coming up, and I just wanted to inform you, and you can look this up for yourself. You can go to KaneCountyElections.org, and it brings up a list of the early voting places, and I wanted to bring this up because I always vote early. I don't wait in line or anything like that. But right here in Carpentersville, we have early voting. It starts on October 24th. It starts through the 25th. The hours would be 8:30 to 4:30 for those 3 days. And then that Saturday they have another one, and all the way up till November 7th they have early voting. The thing about that is if you're not registered to vote, and there's 3.7 million people in this state alone that are not registered, or their address has changed or something like that their information is incomplete. So you need to, if you go there to vote, you can register at the same time. You can register right there at Fire Station number 3, starting October 24th. You can register and vote. Same motion. So one-stop shopping, and I think it's a great program. We need to get out there and vote. Thank you. Ginger.
I have a letter that was written by a woman that I work with whose father lives in Carpentersville. And as I read it, it's self-explanatory. Dear Chief Schilling, I wanted to share with you what a positive experience my father and I had working with your staff. My dad just turned 95 and lives alone in Carpentersville. It has been a challenge for my family and me to be there for him every day. Recently, he had a few falls, nothing serious. I had heard that the village of Carpentersville was offering an opportunity for the elderly to be hooked up with Life Alert. During the day, I worked with Ginger Stevens and reached out to her to inquire. She was gracious to verify what we needed to do. We were put in contact with fireman James Kasprick from the Black Shift. James was a blessing to work with. He was friendly, professional, and showed a sincere interest in making sure that we were taken care of quickly. It was a pleasure to work with him. Installation went well. Again, the firemen who came to install and educate my dad and my family were beyond our expectations. They all were kind, friendly, and took the necessary time to ensure that my dad understood how everything worked and how to use it in an emergency. Thank goodness for James making sure that it was scheduled sooner than later. My dad fell recently, no injuries, just fell, and he couldn't get back up. The firemen were there instantly, checked him out, and he was good to go. Thank goodness for Life Alert and your firemen. Thank you for having such a great team of firemen/firewomen who truly care for the needs of these folks residing in Carpentersville. And I won't read her name, but her father, 95 years old, still living on his own, and she just couldn't be more happy at the outcome. So my thanks as well, and I'll give you this letter so you can share with your guys.
That it, Ginger?
That's it.
Just want to welcome the new committee members to joining our commissions and committees, and appreciate it very much. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your service. Thank you. With that, that's all I had tonight.
Okay. I attended several meetings over the last couple weeks. One of them is the Fox Valley Sustainability Conference. It's a conference that looks at mostly at the environment, but then also looks at how we can use environmental sustainability to improve economics and for our village and different things like that. So it was a general conference, but they did ask me to speak about some of the things that Carpentersville was doing. Algonquin and Carpentersville were the two speakers there. And it was quite interesting. I talked about our Business Development Commission and the way they had gone out and looked at other communities and how we knew that one of the things that people were looking for, especially millennials, was amenities that it would, like the river, the bike path, those kinds of things, and that was one of the things we were targeting, was having more amenities, because that's what businesses look for when they come into a town. They want to be able to get employees, and younger employees go where these kinds of amenities are at. And then we went on to talk about how we had done several different projects that improved the water, and Keith Andrews Park and so forth. But I evidently made enough of an impression that they invited me to form a mayor's committee and have a group of mayors that will meet formally or informally to talk about ways that we can all expand. And we had then we broke up into groups, and everybody, I felt a little bit bad, because every time somebody brought up something like, well, let's do something for the Monarchs. Well, we've got that. And then they said, well, why don't we do something to clean up pollution or run off into the rest? Well, it was real interesting that Carpentersville actually is ahead of many communities in our efforts to be green and also to improve the economic situation by trying to attract companies who will bring in jobs. It was a nice thing, but on to a couple others. I had a meeting with a representative from District 300. All of the elementary students in the district will be getting computers this year or have already gotten them. Unfortunately, they've already recognized that it's a problem in Carpentersville because we have a lot of people who are not connected to the internet. So they would like to partner with us to look for grants that would, by having the village and the school district partner, it's always better to be intergovernmental. It raises your chances of getting grants. So Kevin is looking to see if he can find any grants. The district is looking, and our computer guy, Kevin, and their computer guys are going to talk, and we'll see if we can go anywhere with this, because it is a problem. I mean, you had kids take home a computer, and they're supposed to do assignments online, and they can't get on the internet. So we'll see where that goes, but we're at least talking at this point with others. Last Friday, I went to a Metropolitan Mayor's meeting that includes mayors from all 6 collar counties, plus Rahm Emanuel, who was at the meeting. A few things that came out of the meeting. Number one, and I'm not exactly a big fan of Rahm Emanuel, but it was very interesting at the meeting that when he started talking about their budget, a theme that kind of ran through everything was we can't keep kicking the can down the road. We have to face our problems. We have to fund our pension, meaning Chicago. And Rahm, in almost everything he talked about in his budget, is we have to face our problems. We can't keep putting them off. That's very refreshing coming out of Chicago, because that's like the state of Illinois. A lot of things get kicked down the road, and Chicago is the center of our universe, so to speak, and it's good to see them owning up to doing better. Another thing that came out, 2 things that kind of fit into what you were talking about, Don. One is the dramatic increases in the price of Narcan. As soon as people started using it, the price is going up, and it's being very difficult for towns and villages. We're all saying, yeah, wow, we'd love to fund this, but it's just skyrocketing on us. And they have very short expiration dates, so not only do you have to buy it, but 3 months later, you have to buy a whole new supply. So that was one of the things that came up. And then Emmanuel said, you know, one of our biggest problems we think in Chicago is that we have a small number of doctors who are writing gigantic amounts of prescriptions. So they're going to go after the doctors who just write prescriptions and get people on the painkillers and so forth and so on. I don't know if that's a problem around here, but I can't be at the meeting next Thursday or whatever Thursday it is. I'm out of town. But I hope somebody brings that up and says, what can we do about that problem?
Absolutely.
Because it's a gateway, and it's also a way for people to get this stuff. So that was another interesting one that came up. And I know I'm going a little long here, but unfortunately some of these things are very important, especially this prescription writer one. I didn't think about that, but he said we're going after them because they are a big part of the problem. Then Senator Heather Steens, I don't want to say her name right, from Chicago, was there talking about the lead problem in schools and the fact that a lot of schools had a problem, but in the vast majority of them it was one faucet. They had 30 faucets or 40 faucets or whatever the number is. Only one would be a problem, and they just turned it off. So although it looks bad to say, you know, I don't remember what the number, I think it was 50 schools had lead problems, but in almost every case it was one faucet. So I guess she's saying, please don't panic. We're going to write legislation to work on this, but it's not as big a problem as it might look like when somebody says 30 schools had lead problems. So less than 1%, or just about 1% of the faucets tested had a problem. And let's see here. That one last thing, and Kevin brought it up. If you want to find out how the village works and where your money goes, come to one audit and finance meeting of the ones we're going to have, because you will find out as much as you'll ever want to know about where the money comes from, where it goes to, how carefully we spend it. Department heads come in and they talk to the Audit and Finance Committee. They basically have to tell us everything they're going to do, where the money's going to go, what they're asking for new, justify why they're going to do it. So there's a lot of accountability for the money that comes into this village and has to go back out in terms of salaries and everything else. Everybody on the board's nodding their head. Yeah, it's a long session, but one of them really tells you what the village is like. So I'll end with that. The last thing here would be closed session. I need a motion to move to closed session.
A motion. I'll
Motion,
second.
Ginger, second. Was that Pat?
Yeah.
We need to specify the grounds for the, we need to specify the.
Oh,
reason.
I'm sorry, yes, Section 2C1s of the Open Meeting Act. Thank you. I usually do that first, and I'm getting anxious because of the Cubs. Sorry.
I motion.
Got to be honest. Motion, Ginger, second, Pat. Call a roll to.
Yeah. Trustee Burway?
Yes.
Trustee Stevens?
Yes.
Trustee Humford?
Yes.
Trustee Sabi?
Yes.
Trustee Rayberg?
Yes.
Trustee Schultz?
Yes.
All right, we will move to closed session, but we'll reconvene for other village business.